So, for the past few years now, I've been wanting to encourage myself into get back into reading a lot more. I mean, for the fact, like, the likes of the matter, I've completed 1984, The Hobbit, the entirety of the Hunger Games so far, and I'm trying to keep that streak going, even though I'm not doing as well as I'd hoped for it to be with Dracula. I hope you can read that. So yeah, Dracula, the most well-known horror book. Why did I do quotations? It is kind of a horror book. It's about a monster who's very much well known in horror fiction. Vampires, the most iconic vampire in literature and in fiction to ever exist. And I gotta say, from reading this for about ever since the summer last year, it's really good. I think this is one of the books that people should read. It is very thought-provoking. It is something very unique from all the other books that I've read. I mean, the Hunger Games are a very easy read, and they're in the perspective of one of the characters' minds the entire time. But for Dracula, it's told as in you're reading someone's diary, you're reading someone's letters, and you're reading news articles. Everything in this is based off of the characters' journals or diaries that they write into, or letters that they send to each characters, and telegrams and articles that they find. It's really interesting, and I really found it a breath of fresh air of how stories are usually written. I mean, this is like you're reading. It's like you're trying to discover a true crime or something, and everything that's in this was just. You're just discovering things, like you're on a true mystery, and it's really interesting. I really liked it. Yeah, the story was really compelling, and as for someone who's very much well known who knows so many of the adaptations of Dracula, it's very different from all the adaptations. In fact, many of the adaptations, I would actually say, are very much not accurate or 100% accurate to it. I mean, the books, it literally ends of the characters chasing down Dracula back to his castle, where they kill him in a wagon. Spoilers, I'm sorry, but they don't kill him in his house. None of the characters sacrifice themselves just so Dracula has to die. It's very much compelling stuff, and I found it really, really interesting. Something that I found was that Dracula's kind of a coward in this book. And that's saying a lot. Because Dracula is so well known for being this infamous, terrifying being who gets sexualized or romanticized way too much. Because in this book, he is foretold to be nothing but evil, dangerous, and frightening. All the characters despise him or fear him. He's not someone to be romanticized, and that's something I question for the likes of Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula, or even Robert Eggers' Nosferatu. They try to preach him as this sort of tragic figure, even though he's not tragic at all. He made a deal with the devil, and he's now just a vampire. He's a dangerous demon. He's an evil being. Now, I'm not saying that Nosferatu, Eggers' version, I'm not saying that that's evil, but it's the fact that in this one they try to force a connection that was there in the original book, but it was that connection of how a master commands his slave. It's that sort of thing. Actually, thinking about it now, Eggers' version really seems similar in that one. In fact, Eggers' version has the mustache that is present in the original story. Only Eggers' version is more of a corpse, when in this one he's more like an old gentlemanly type figure. He's definitely, in the original story, he's definitely fearful and tragic, and he does try to command Mina into doing his bidding. But there was never that sort of romantic or sexual or closely bonded link between them, aside from just a master trying to ruin a human's life by them becoming his slave. It's that sort of thing. I mean, and in fact, it's very different from everything. In fact, the story is just completely different from all the adaptations I've ever heard of. In this one, the main couple, Jonathan Harker, Jonathan Harker and his fiancée Mina / wife, they have nothing but a healthy relationship in this one. I mean, Francis Ford Coppola's, and I'm just saying this from the Wikipedia article I've read, apparently Mina develops feeling for Dracula, which I don't like, really. But in the original story, they have the healthiest relationship I've ever seen in any sort of book, aside from probably Katniss and Peter from the Hunger Games. Though really, that's more of a will they, won't they sort of thing, and I'm not going to get into that. That's not the story. Yeah, but yeah, aside from Dracula, all the characters are really interesting. I like Jonathan's really persistent attitude and him just wanting to save Mina at all costs. Mina is actually a much more fleshed out character in this. She has agency and she deeply cares for the people around her, and she wants to be part of the mystery all the men around her are trying to discover, and she actively participates in them trying to kill Dracula, which is incredible considering the fact that this came out in 1897, and considering the fact that then the women's movement still very much didn't encourage women to get the vote. I'm just trying to remember everything I learned in history class for that one. But yeah, she has a lot of agency, she has a lot of character built within her, and she's probably one of the most fleshed out characters in the entire book, and that's saying a lot. But yeah, all the other characters are really interesting as well. And most interesting aside from that is actually Van Helsing. I mean, he's considered to be the foil of Dracula, which he kind of is, I guess. But in the original story, he's just a doctor. He's not this great hunter or anything. He's just a doctor trying to help destroy Dracula from ruining any more lives, and that's just so interesting. I really enjoyed this, and I really have a lot to say about it, and it's just one of those books that you need to read. It's one of those books that everyone should read, and I would say other books are like 1984, not just because of the political ties within this, but because it's just a well-made book. And this one, it's a well-made book. It's an incredible piece of gothic fiction. It pretty much starts the whole trend of vampires being cool, and it's just a really good book in itself. But why did I say back in summer when I started or whatever, and I've only just finished it now? Well, much like 1984 and much like The Hobbit, it's one of those books that you need to really commit yourself into reading. I mean, 1984 and The Hobbit, they were difficult reads, let's be honest. They were difficult books to read. And a lot of the times there was so much information packed in within them that you just felt like, is the story going to move on, or is it just going to explain the toenail of one character? I'm exaggerating by that point. And with Dracula, it's similar. Like, it explains so much, and you're just wanting to get the plot moved forward a lot. But it also is about reading notes and reading letters. And a lot of times you don't really want to read letters. You don't really want to read articles. I mean, even when the Demeter portion was up, I was really invested, and the moments that made me really invested was when the plot actually felt like it was going somewhere, but the stuff that it felt like it wasn't going anywhere just really wasn't going anywhere. It really felt like it was dragging here and there. But I found it really compelling, and I really enjoyed it. I'm hoping to get through a lot more books here and there. I mean, I've got the entirety of The Lord of the Rings. I mean, I'm now starting the Harry Potter books just so I can prepare myself for the TV show that's going to come out. And I actually do have the Chronicles of Narnia tucked away in that cupboard. But also a lot more stuff like Fahrenheit 451, and Frankenstein, because I've read Dracula, I need to read Frankenstein as well. Overall, a well-made book, really well made. Not surprised it has become one of the most influential books in modern history, or history in general. And I encourage people to read it. It's a really well-made book. It's not going to be for everyone, because much like The Hobbit, it is kind of a difficult book to read. But I think that's a good thing. People should be reading a lot more difficult books. So if you haven't, read it already. Tell me what you think. This is 10 minutes. Have a good one.